Are you utilizing the money I send you appropriately? Simply saving it isn't the intended purpose, as my mom advised me. However, I never received any money. While I was perplexed, my younger sister Megan entered the living room. Her face was pale, and I vividly recall the expression on her face at that moment. My name is Brenda, a college student in Los Angeles. My parents resided in the countryside, so I moved to Los Angeles for college. My family consists of my mom, sister, and me. My dad passed away in a vehicle accident when I was little, and our mother raised us on her own. Our family ran a bakery with a long history, but after my dad's passing, my mom contemplated closing it. Despite its struggles, she believed it was an important legacy and kept the store running. Honestly, the business wasn't thriving, but I was determined to take it over and make it prosperous after graduating. Living alone in Los Angeles for the first time brought anxiety. My mom, concerned for me, offered to send $2,500 monthly. Even though she worked tirelessly in the bakery, I felt guilty about accepting the money. I expressed my concerns, but she insisted she was glad I would take over the store and encouraged me to enjoy my time in college. Reluctantly, I accepted her kindness and managed my expenses with the $2,500 monthly allowance and income from my part-time job. Despite financial constraints, I declined invitations to save money, contemplating the sacrifices my mom made to send it. I intended to repay her as soon as possible and refrain from using the money. Unexpectedly, the monthly funds ceased. Previously sent regularly, I grew worried and called my parents' house, fearing something had happened to my mom. Fortunately, she was fine. Knowing the financial challenges she faced with the bakery, I hesitated to bring up the issue. Upon realizing my mom had stopped sending me money, I concluded that I needed to work to sustain myself. Consequently, I dedicated more time to a part-time job. Until then, I had only worked after school, but I began working at a bakery before classes started. Waking up at 6:05 a.m. every day took a toll on me physically. Some days, I grew increasingly drowsy in class and struggled to comprehend my studies. Considering my financial challenges, I contemplated talking to my mom about resuming the financial support. I wondered if she was facing difficulties making ends meet, making it challenging to send money regularly. However, the thought of burdening her with my financial struggles prevented me from discussing the matter. One day, while attending a class at college, I suddenly felt dizzy and eventually collapsed. My consciousness faded as a crowd gathered around me. Someone called an ambulance, and the next time I woke up, I found myself in a hospital room with an IV attached to my arm. Realizing I was alive, I felt a sense of relief. A nurse entered the room, and upon noticing my wakefulness, she promptly informed the doctor. The doctor explained that my collapse resulted from overwork and malnutrition, as I had been eating less to save money. My body had become unnaturally thin without my awareness. The doctor requested my parents' contact information to keep them informed. Reflecting on my mom's likely reaction, I couldn't bear the thought of her blaming herself for my collapse due to financial constraints. Desperate to shield her from this guilt, I pleaded with the doctor not to inform my mother. After my tearful appeals, the doctor relented, stating that he wouldn't inform my parents this time, but warned that if such an incident recurred, he would have to contact them. Relieved by his decision, I made a resolution to balance my part-time job with adequate rest to prevent future collapses. During this challenging phase, I received a phone call from my younger sister Megan, who was 3 years younger than me. She was flashy and had a penchant for trendy things, a sharp contrast to my humble demeanor. Since junior high, Megan began dyeing her hair and frequently returned home late at night, adorned with heavy makeup. Her behavior led to multiple calls from the school to my mom. The last time we played together was in our early childhood at the park, and as far back as I can remember, we hadn't interacted much. Megan and I were complete opposites in personality and interests, never really getting along. When I left for Los Angeles, the only words exchanged were a curt, "Take care, okay." Megan, on the other hand, seemed increasingly interested in my life in Los Angeles and started reaching out frequently. Despite our differences, it appeared that Megan envied my experiences in Los Angeles. She often asked about the city's attractions and the stylish women there. At 20, a high school senior, she seemed intrigued by the flamboyant and fashionable life in Los Angeles. Though we had our share of troubles in our younger days, I felt that we had come to understand each other a bit better at the time. However, there was one thing we still couldn't see eye to eye on: our family's bakery. While I loved my mom's bakery, Megan deemed it outdated, disrespecting our family's legacy. She called me one day suggesting that I shouldn't take over the bakery. According to her, studying economics meant I should find a job elsewhere, deeming the idea of mom continuing to run the bakery as ridiculous. She chuckled as she expressed these opinions. Despite my anger at Megan for insulting the beloved bakery, I recognized that everyone had their distinct point of view. It wasn't as if Megan was going to take over the bakery, so I decided to view her suggestion as just one among many. One day, I received an unusual phone call from my mom. Her tone was serious, and she shared that Megan had been acting strangely. Megan had been going out at night more frequently, returning home late practically every night. While it was not uncommon for Megan to go out at night, the increase in frequency had my mom worried. When questioned about her whereabouts, Megan would simply click her tongue and ignore the inquiry. Concerned about potential trouble, my mom anxiously awaited any information about Megan's nighttime activities. Concerns for Megan led me to return to my parents' house during the summer vacation. Riding the train, the anticipation of seeing my mom after a long time made my heart race. Returning to my parents' house, a spacious dwelling in the countryside, felt different from when I lived there, given my modest room. Eagerly approaching, I rang the doorbell, and my mom opened the front door. Seeing her healthy and welcoming relieved me. She mentioned closing the bakery for the day to prepare my favorite meals, and the enticing aroma wafted through the house. Excitement filled me as I was about to step inside, but my mom stared at me, mouth agape. Perplexed, I wondered what was wrong, but she brushed it off and ushered me inside. In the living room, she turned to me and asked why I was so skinny, a question that left me momentarily speechless. I soon realized she was astonished by my weight loss since our last meeting. Reflecting on my busy college life, preoccupied with academics and part-time work, I hadn't paid much attention to my body. However, the drastic weight loss was apparent as my clothes were now a size smaller than when I lived with my mom. Concerned, she inquired about the money she had been sending, urging me not to just save it, but to ensure I was eating well. Perplexed, I mentioned not receiving any money recently. Hesitantly, I revealed my struggles, working part-time jobs, facing hunger, and falling. Her face paled upon learning I had collapsed without receiving money. I explained my assumption that the business wasn't doing well, leading her to stop sending money. To my surprise, she disclosed that the bakery was thriving, attributing her financial support to Megan. My mom had been sending $2,500 to Megan monthly, with the expectation that she would forward it to me. As I pondered this revelation, Megan returned home, confirming my hunch. She must have gone out with someone, dressed inappropriately for the countryside. Unaware that I was home, Megan was surprised to see me, much like my mom, who was taken aback by my skinny figure. My mom questioned Megan about the money she was supposed to be sending me. Curious about the delayed financial support, my mom inquired, "By the way, what's up with the money you are supposed to send to Amy?" Megan's face turned pale, and it became evident that she was incapable of lying. My mom pressed further, seeking an explanation for the missing funds. Megan, seemingly at a loss for an excuse, remained silent. Addressing the weight loss issue, my mom confronted Megan, stating, "So your sister has lost so much weight because she wasn't receiving any money?" Megan, likely feeling guilty, slowly opened up. It turned out she had been using the money for classes, attending confectionery school after regular high school hours. Megan believed it was essential to learn pastry-making skills for the future of our family bakery. Misunderstanding that our business was in economic crisis after my mom started sending me money, Megan took the initiative to attend confectionery school to help the store. In truth, the business wasn't struggling. My mom expressed her disappointment, stating Megan should have at least talked to her about it. In response, Megan tearfully claimed that my mom had only cared for me and given me items from the bakery. She felt unloved and believed my mom favored me. Reflecting on their past, Megan explained that my mom used to say, "This is only for you, Amy," and gave me cookies. It was likely because I had always expressed my desire to take over the store. My mom might have intended for me to learn the taste of our products, but Megan interpreted it as favoritism. Megan's behavior had deteriorated since middle school, perhaps seeking my mom's attention. Hearing Megan's emotional confession, my mom was left to ponder the complexities of their relationship. "Megan, I had no awareness that my actions were causing you loneliness ever since your father passed away. I was absorbed in managing the store, and I sincerely apologize for that. My mother also expressed her apologies to you, tearfully." Witnessing Megan's tears, I too felt remorse and extended my apologies. Amy apologized to me as well, and Megan was crying so intensely that her face became swollen. This was a side of Megan I had never seen before. Despite her previous teasing about our parents' bakery, she must have been contemplating our situation in her way. In that moment, a profound love for Megan welled up within me. I forgave her, reassuring her that it's okay as long as it doesn't happen again. Following that, I had a conversation with my mom. Subsequently, I suggested covering the cost of Megan's confectionery school. My mom, initially troubled, listened to Megan's story and realized the money wasn't spent frivolously. After contemplating for a while, she agreed to provide financial support on the condition that Megan help with the bakery alongside Amy in the future. Upon hearing this, Megan cried and rejoiced even more. This incident unexpectedly brought our family closer together. Shortly after, I returned to college in Los Angeles. From the next month onwards, $15,000 was properly transferred to my bank account. This allowed me to reduce my part-time work hours and focus on my studies. After graduating, I returned to my parents' house. When I rang the doorbell, I was warmly greeted by my mom and sister. True to her promise, Megan had come to assist at the bakery. Collaborating with Megan, we created new pastries, showcased them on social media, and established an online store. This venture quickly gained popularity due to social networking sites. Our pastries, blending classic and contemporary styles, appealed to people of all ages. We received extensive coverage from TV and magazines, bringing happiness to my mom. When she expressed her gratitude to Amy and Megan, an inexplicable wave of emotion overcame us, and tears flowed. We were relieved that our hard work had paid off despite the challenges we faced. Today, our bakery remains popular, with a constant stream of customers waiting in line. As I craft pastries, I reflect on how grateful I am to be part of this family. I appreciate having my mom and Megan as my family members, and I am genuinely thankful for it.